Well, hey, this week the Fed, talked that interest rates are maybe not going to change for the time being, and it had a big impact on the market. I think it had a lot of impact on consumer confidence. What kind of impact does the Fed have, when they do something like that on mortgage rates, David?
I mean, they have an impact on basically everything nowadays. So, whereas we used to rely on, the reports coming out of actually technical figures, what's really happening is whenever someone goes on Capitol Hill and starts talking, that has the ability to move the markets. And as anyone who's watched the markets over the last really couple of years, I mean, it's as volatile as ever. So this past Wednesday they met, and Janet Yellen went on Capitol Hill, and they released their statement. And basically they removed the patient language, whereas they said that they're not going to be as patient anymore to keep rates as low, and so that was actually the previous time. But this time they came out and said, well, we're not going to be impatient either. So that gave a little bit more confidence into the market.
It's so funny. Who sits there and has to read these releases and interpret them? So, I just envision. Yeah, we all do, I guess, right? It impacts us, and I think it impacts consumer confidence. And it's interesting because when we talk about real estate, we always talk about what's going on here in Tampa. But then you hear or watch the news, and they talk about national or what's going on Capitol Hill. Real estate is so local that sometimes what you might hear on the news may have absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Tampa Bay. Or you may talk to a friend in Detroit, and what he's got going on has nothing to do with what's going on in Tampa Bay. And I think that's the unique part of real estate is that sometimes local markets respond differently or have different things going on. The funny thing is I think that's why working with a top agent that has a large company, lots of agents, lots of home sales, is helpful for a consumer because we have data. We can interpret data quicker than the news can. Anytime you hear something on the news about real estate sales or statistics, it's usually 3-month-old data. I'm looking at data today. I can see how many people hit my website, how many leads sign up on my website, how many offers I get on listings, how many page views I get on listings. I can look at that and interpret that to know what's going on right now. And
same thing for rates. I mean, we get the average for the last week, but it moves every single day.
Right. I think, and this is something I think consumers forget about. They pay attention to price so much, and they forget about rate. And especially when rates are volatile and they fluctuate and they go up and down, eighth, a quarter of a point, and people will be negotiating. We have this happen all the time. They're negotiating over $1,000 or $2,000, and then they celebrate. Oh yeah, I knocked $2,000 off of what the seller wanted, and yeah, I'm so excited. And then during that 4-day period, their rate went up a quarter point. Congratulations, you lost money.
You're paying more.
Yeah, I mean, people forget about the importance of the rate with the expedience of getting the deal secured.
And one more thing I just want to clarify, and obviously if anybody has any questions, they can call 844-DIAZ DUO. If I can answer any questions specifically for you. But when I talk that the Fed is talking about rates, that doesn't directly translate into our rate. They're not controlling our rates. It's the mortgage-backed security that market that we're watching as far as rates every day. But what they say affects that market.
There's an indirect
correct. Inflationary or deflationary comments that they make is going to affect the markets and therefore going to affect the rates. But it's not a one-for-one kind of comparison there.